Okay. Summer sometime? June? Okay. We are not located at the center of our galaxy. We are actually located out here in the outskirts, the suburbs, out in one of those arms. What this means is that that band changes in brightness over different times of the year based upon what part it is we're seeing at night. So for instance, in the summer and fall, the part of the band that we see at night is this part, in towards the center of the galaxy. The constellation of Sagittarius points almost directly towards the center of the galaxy. There's a bright star of Antares that I'll show you in a little bit that's pretty darn close. But the summer and fall is when the brightest part of that Milky Way's band is overhead. 6 months later, and you go to winter, the part of the Milky Way that's overhead at night is this part. The Earth has gone around to the other side of the sun, so it's the other side of that band that's visible. And so what we see at night is this part towards the constellation of Orion, or Taurus the Bull. And because that's the part directly away from the center of the galaxy, the Milky Way is very thin and dim, and you have to be someplace truly dark, absolutely pristine dark skies in order to really see it there. And so this is a part of the Milky Way that very few people get a chance to see. On top of that, it's also winter, so heaven knows we aren't spending a lot of time out at night at that time of year. Here's an example, showing just how big the difference is. This is a photograph of the winter Milky Way taken in December from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. There's a national park. It's lovely to go out at wintertime. And you can see there's the constellation of Orion. There's Orion's belt. This little V right there is the head of Taurus the Bull. And this little smattering of blue stars is the Pleiades. And you can make out, yeah, here's the Milky Way. All right, it kind of looks like a band. It's not obvious that there's some dark clouds in there. Maybe something here, maybe. But okay, that's the winter Milky Way. 6 months later, I took another photograph using the exact same camera, the exact same lens, the exact same camera settings. And this is what I saw. That's the center of our galaxy, or at least that's the direction of the center of our galaxy. To give you an idea about where this is, here are some of the constellations. Sagittarius looks like a giant teapot. Next to Sagittarius, you've got Scorpius, which looks like a scorpion. I mentioned the star Antares. That's this orange star here. It means rival of Mars, the anti-Aries. Here's Jupiter for comparison. But this is the summer Milky Way. Oh, and that picture I showed you before of where new stars were forming, the Lagoon Nebula, that's this thing right here, right off of the spout, just above the spout of this teapot. You can actually see that with your naked eye. If you know where to look, and your eyes are adjusted to the darkness, you can make out a fuzzy little splotch right there. It won't be bright and red. Your eyes aren't sensitive to color under low light conditions, but you can make out a fuzzy spot. And one of the ways I find is, as I picture this triangle that's the spout of the teapot, and I imagine a mirror of that triangle, but flipped up. And where the bottom comes to rest at the top, that's where that Lagoon Nebula is.
What is a nebula?
Nebula comes from the Latin for cloud. So it just means a cloud out in space. So there's different ways that you can get clouds of gas. In this case, the Lagoon Nebula happens to be one of these giant clouds of hydrogen gas that's in the process of forming stars, because gravity is dragging all those atoms together. Now, here's the Milky Way from Yosemite, and this is from the Ahwahnee Meadow. This will give you an idea about what you'll be able to see tonight, and I'd be able to say this is probably going to be about, I'd go with about 11 o'clock tonight. The summer Milky Way, that Antares, Sagittarius is all right about down here. The winter Milky Way is over here. What you are seeing right in between the two is the part in between the center and the anti-center. And in fact, it's the direction that we're heading. There are going to be 3 bright stars that you'll probably see first of all before your eyes totally adjust to the darkness. It's called the summer triangle. And the Milky Way is going to go right through the middle. And because that summer triangle is located almost directly between the direction towards the center of the galaxy and the direction away from it, it's in that direction, the direction of that triangle, that our sun is traveling as it orbits around our galaxy. In the 4.5 billion years that the Earth and Sun have been here, we have made 20 trips around our galaxy. So, look for that triangle at night, and you see that's where we're heading. The other thing that's interesting about this is that these three stars that are almost equally bright, they are also some of the only stars that you could almost guarantee to be able to see from most cities. So when you leave here tomorrow or the day after and you go home to wherever home may be, take a look in the evening sky and look for those three stars and see just how much everything else has changed. That is the most direct, visceral way to see what these parks are preserving for us at night and what we have lost back home in our cities.